Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be doing an embroidery video, and this is a really special one. I came up with an idea to make a needle minder, and I know making a needle minder is not a original idea, but I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. I wanted something that was portable, something that I could just throw in a drawer, because quite often I'm sewing and I put a special needle in my machine, perhaps a denim needle or a leather needle, or I put a ballpoint in my embroidery machine when I normally use sharp points. So I might use that needle for one project and then take it out. And my problem is I never remember what the needles are once I take them out, and they're not really ready to be thrown away after one project. So what I wanted was this needle minder. Now, what happened with this, I'm not a digitizer at all, but I knew what I wanted. I knew the layout. So I created this little needle minder right here. So you can see it's got sewing and embroidery, sharp point, ballpoint, and then some sewing specialty needles and all the different sizes. So because I'm not a digitizer, I knew that this could look better than it did. So I reached out to my friend Dawn over at Creative Appliques. She has been digitizing for many, many years, and she has mastered digitizing. So I gave this idea to her, sent her this file, and said, do what you want. Make it, make it however you like, but this is what I'm after. And boy, did she come through. She took my idea and really stepped it up a notch. Oops, that's upside down. Stepped it up a notch. So she came up with this design. I love it. It's got multicolors. She's got more options. She's got the sharp point, ballpoint for the embroidery side. She's got all the numbers down the side for the sizes. And then for the sewing side, she's got universal, sharp point, ballpoint, microtex, leather, jeans, and specialty categories for you. So how this works is once you take a needle out of your sewing machine that you want to reuse at some point, you just stick it in the proper square. So I know that next time I need a 70-75 needle, this is still a good needle for embroidery. So it's right in there. So that's how it works. That was the idea behind it. And thank you so much to Dawn for helping me out with this project. You can get this file on her website. She's got this size, which fits in a 5x7 hoop, as well as a 6x10 version. So for an even larger one. So she really knocked it out of the park. I love what she did. Like I said, I just guided her with one that I created and digitized, and hers looks a lot better than mine. She is an excellent digitizer, and she has so many fun designs over on her website. So make sure that you check her out. So let's get started in today's video. I think you guys are really going to like this. I am a big fan of quick and easy, and I'm a big fan of practical things. I don't like to make things that I'm just going to throw away. So I think this would be a really cool thing to put in an Etsy shop, or a cool thing if you go to crops or go to embroidery classes or things like that where you need to take different needles with you on the go. You can throw this in your bag. At home, you can store it in a drawer very easily. Keep track of those extra needles. So let's get started. So let's take a look at what we need for this project one more time. So you're going to need a piece for the outer, which is this side. Going to be my faux leather. You're going to need a piece for the inside, which is my felt. You're going to need some snaps. I'm going to be using the magnetic snaps. You're going to need a piece of tearaway, and for the smaller size, you need at least a 5x7 hoop. For the SE 1900, I'm going to use my 5x7 hoop. For the Ricoma EM 1010, I'm going to use my 6.25 by 8.25 mighty hoop. So for the instructions, I just want to let you know, so if you're doing a multi-needle and you need to adjust the colors, step 1 is going to be your placement. Step 2 is going to be tacking down your felt. So you're going to add your felt, and then it's going to put in your snap placements to tack that down. Then you're going to be stitching the horizontal lines. So if you want to do this multicolored, you kind of need to know. If you're doing everything in one color, you can absolutely do that. For the next step, you're going to do the embroidery side horizontal lines, and then it's going to stitch the word embroidery. For the next step, you're going to, that's step 6, you're going to do the horizontal lines and then the word sewing. And then it's going to do this zigzag that divides the two sides. That's your step 7. Then it's going to stitch the numbers. Then it's going to stitch the S and B here on the embroidery side. And then it's going to do these letters on the sewing side. And then you're going to put your backing on right before step 11. Step 11 is going to do all of this outline work to secure your two pieces of fabric together. So that's just a quick walkthrough of the colors in case you want to program yours to be multicolored like this one. Again, on my original versions, I just did them in one color, but Dawn really stepped it up a notch and really made it cute. So I really like what she added to this project. So let's go ahead and program our colors into our machines if you need to. If you're doing a single needle, you can do it as you go, and I'll try to remind you as we stitch this out exactly which colors you need to put in when. All right, so I have loaded orange thread. I'm going to do this in 2 colors. I'm going to do orange and blue. We're going to go ahead and stitch the very first step. Once you've completed step number 1, cut your thread if it hasn't already, and you need to add your felt. I'm going to use some 505 adhesive spray. I simply spray the 505 on the back of it. Don't do it by your machine or near your camera equipment. Take it off the screen and spray it, and then I'm just going to place it on top of that stitch out that it just made. You want to make sure that you have a little bit of a margin all the way around. Oops, looks like I didn't have my hoop snapped in well. But make sure that you cover the stitch out, the placement stitch with the felt, and have a little bit of a margin all the way around. Now you can add the optional water-soluble stabilizer. I do recommend that you use it. It does help keep those stitches from sinking down into the felt. I did add it. I didn't catch that on camera. So we've added our felt, our water-soluble topping. I'm going to put the foot down, and we're going to go ahead and stitch the next step, step 2. Step 2 is going to be stitching the little circles that are going to be the placement for your snaps, and that also provides tack down for this felt. All right, step 3 is going to stitch these horizontal lines. I'm going to leave it at orange. Okay, I'm going to pause right here and trim up these jump stitches just to get them out of our way. Okay, next it's going to stitch the horizontal lines on the embroidery side only. Let that go ahead. Again, if you want to stop, trim any jump stitches, go ahead. Next, it's going to stitch the word embroidery. All right, so now we're ready for step number 6, and we're going to start working on the sewing side. So if you want to change your threads, go ahead, your colors. I'm going to go ahead and switch this out to blue. Now we're on step 6. It's going to do these vertical lines and the word sewing. All right, step 7 is going to be the zigzag line, which separates the embroidery side from the sewing side. I did it in light pink here. I don't know if you can tell, but you can do it in whatever color you want. I'm just going to leave the blue in. Step 8 is going to be the numbers. Again, I'm going to leave the blue in. Next, it's going to sew the S and the B on the embroidery side, and we are at step number 9. Now we're going to stitch the sewing side letters out. I'm going to change my thread back to the orange. This is stitch number 10, or step number 10. All right, we're ready for the last step. So before we do that, we need to add our faux leather. So I'm going to remove it from the hoop. Or not remove it from the hoop, but remove it from the machine. You're going to turn it over. You can clean up these stitches. And then I'm going to spray the back of my faux leather off camera using the 505 spray. I'm going to place that right down. Now, if you want to tape this, you can absolutely do that. I don't find that it's necessary, but if you want to, go right ahead. We're going to add it back to the machine. All right, so now what it's going to do is stitch the final center line right down the middle, and then it's going to stitch this outer edge. And then we'll be done. Oops. All right, the embroidery part is done. We're going to remove it from the machine. Go ahead and trim up all your jump stitches, remove your water-soluble topping, clean up the back, and then I'll show you how to put the snaps on. While you're cleaning that up, I just wanted to show you that I also stitched this on my Ricoma EM1010 multi-needle. As you can see, it's much easier when you're working with multiple colors, much faster. Trims all those trims, so just made it so much easier and so much faster. I do prefer to use the multi-needle when I am changing thread colors a lot. I did have a couple of thread breaks here, so that's what you're seeing. My hands keep coming in there, but other than that, it stitched really well, really quickly on the EM1010. So I've got this one already prepped, but we need to do this. So you can see I've just removed my tearaway. I just ripped it away. You want to remove all of your water-soluble topping. And then what you're going to do, I like to use a ruler that has an 1/8 of an inch mark. So you see this light blue mark? That is an 1/8 of an inch. So I will take that 1/8 of an inch and put the top line right inside that 1/8 of an inch. That way I know it's straight, and then I can trim it. So I'm going to do that all the way around, trimming an 1/8 of an inch away from the outer margin. And I like to use a rotary cutter. It just makes it so easy to get nice, straight, even cuts. Once you've got it trimmed down to size, you need to make holes in the 4 different areas that have the little circles. Those are your hole marks. And I've got a little thread there. Trim that away. And we're going to get ready to assemble our snaps. Now you can use a handheld hole press like this. And what I like to do is just line it up. This happens to be the crocodile. You can see right there where the hole is. You can see right there. I can look through the top of this and line it up with that hole and give it a click. And I've got a hole. Now, if you have the cam press, which I have a couple of them. I had this one for a long time, and then I bought the pink one, of course. So I have the die set. This is a whole die. And let me just show you what it looks like. So when you buy the whole die from Cam Snaps, and I will link them in the description below, it looks like this. So this is the base piece, and this is the part that makes the hole. You just drop the base piece in, and I just keep this one designated for holes. This particular punch, you don't have to have 2 punches. You just switch it out. That's what I switch the pink one out according to what snaps I'm using. But this just has a little screw top. You just screw that die into the top. I just always have to put holes in, so I just leave this one as holes. So then I just line up that little circle, give it a press, kind of doing this from a weird angle, and then I have a nice hole. So you want to go ahead and punch all of your holes, whether you're using a hand press or a table press or whatever method you like to use to make your holes. Go ahead and do that. Since I was going to show you the Cam Snap magnetic snaps, I thought I would show you the hole punch too. So this is the dies for the magnetic snaps. They come in 3 pieces. You have the bottom piece. You can always tell the bottom from the top pieces because the top pieces have the threads in them so that they can be threaded in. So you have 1 threaded piece, and this works for both ends of the snaps. So you have 1 threaded piece, you put that in the top. There we go. So you just thread that in there, and then you have 2 pieces. You have one that has a little nib in it, that is your male piece, and then you have one that has an indentation, that's the female piece. So whichever one you want to do first, I'm going to put the female piece in, and then you have your snaps. So these snaps consist of, let me get all these pieces apart, these are magnetic, so they're stuck together. All right, so we've got the female end, which has the little divot. We have the male end, which has the little sort of a nipple on the top. And then we have 4 caps, and the caps look just like that. All right, so what you're gonna do, I've got the female end here, so you can see this fits, this female end fits the male side, and it just clicks right into place. That little divot fits right inside that nipple, like that. All right, so we're just gonna take the male end, we're gonna put it facing the inside of the clip, and then you're gonna turn it over, you're gonna put it back on it, and it'll kind of snap into place. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, use the male one, turn it over, clip, just like that. I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. I'm gonna put the, well, we'll just stick with this one. So we got that done. So we're gonna take this little divot, put it right inside that. Make sure you can see. And give it a press. And you can kind of feel it click right into place. All right, so we've got those snaps into place. Now we need to do the same thing on this side, except for this time we're gonna use the female end of the snap. Put the back on. Female end, snap the back on. So then you can see this female end will go to the male end, just like that. All right, so we got to switch this out. Let that right on top. And it's magnetic, so sometimes it sticks to that die. And there you can see we've got our magnetic snaps right in place. And just like that, we have our super cute needle minder. All right, here's our finished needle minders. Aren't these so cute? They're so easy to make, And I just wanted to show you the finished product inside. So you can see you have, make sure I'm looking at this right. So you have, for embroidery, you have sharp point, ball point for sewing, or you could use this for, if you have a domestic embroidery machine, you could have universal, sharp point, ball point, microtex, leather, jeans, and specialty. So you can make this and keep track of all those needles so that I know for me, I take it out and I stick it in my needle tray, or I stick it somewhere and I think, oh, I'll remember. And then I walk away from my machine and I forget about putting it back in if I've switched it out for something special. And then if you've only used it once or twice, you can still use that needle. You just very simply stick it inside there. I think I've got one in here. Let me pull that out. So this is a sharp point 70-75. So I just stick it right in that square, and that way I know next time I want to switch something out, if I switched it out for a ballpoint or something like that, I can just go in here, find my needle, and put it back in the machine. And then it just snaps up, so you don't have to worry about those needles coming out. And you can put this in a drawer or something like that. Very easy to keep track of if you want to take different needles, if you're going to a sewing session or something like that. Or I know my craft store or sewing store has embroidery classes where they take their machines and things. So you might need to travel with your needles. But how fun are these? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure that you head over to Creative Appliques. She's got the design. You can purchase it from her and start making some needle minders of your own. If you leave a comment in the description below, I am going to give away one of these that I made today in today's video. And I'll just be doing that by picking randomly one of the comments that are left in the description below this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Thanks so much to Creative Appliques for partnering with me on this project. I hope to do many more collaborations with her. This was a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, never stop making. See ya. Bye-bye.